name is Eleanor Oakes, and I am a photographic artist based in Detroit, Michigan. I'm also assistant professor of photography at the College for Creative Studies and the founder of Darkroom Detroit, a local nonprofit organization whose mission is to increase photography access and education within the greater Detroit area. I had the privilege to jury the work for this year's Art Now Photography exhibition at the Ann Arbor Art Center. I started looking through the submissions at a strange time. As we began getting notifications of schools moving to online platforms, isolation measures began to take place. As I looked through the impressive breadth of work submitted for this exhibition, a theme emerged with which I titled the show, Nothing is Clear, Nothing is Certain. While I am sure that this had to do with my own and our collective emotions at a tumultuous time, it also speaks to photography's inherent talent to evade facts, displace reality, and challenge our understanding of representation. This is particularly true when viewing works from a distance, or out of their original context, which is so often the case with larger group shows, like this one, where you're often viewing many individual works by so many talented artists. Hence, the works in this exhibition were chosen for their aesthetic allure, but also for their ability to work to challenge how we see and what we perceive. Many allude to things missing from the frame, giving us small quotes but refusing to tell the entire story. Particularly now, in a time when we are physically isolated from each other and so much of the future is unclear, these images are symbolic of our shifting reality. The first honorable mention in this exhibition is for James Reeder's Untitled No. 88. Reeder's work is compelling in how he extracts found images, often that involve gestures, and reconstitutes them into his own constructionist scenes. Both his own rephotographing of the material and the restructuring of its context imply shifts of understanding and changes in representation, transforming the often utilitarian into something both magical and obscure, as well as acting like a game of telephone, eroding facts and information and leaving us only with the fleeting forms of memory. The second honorable mention is for Akim Salmon's His Freedom. Photographed on 35mm film, the color of this image displaces it from a contemporary narrative, putting it somewhere between the past and a memory. The central figure is alone amidst a beautiful blue ocean, standing on an eroded mass of reinforced concrete, as he reaches skyward towards a pair of birds overhead. The birds seem like delicate reminders that we are never in fact alone, but also reminders of the limitations of our grounded bodies. Perhaps particularly in these strange times, when we are all physically isolated ourselves, I read this image as a longing for connection and contact amidst the sparkling beauty of the larger world. The third place image is Riley Arthur's Golden Hour at Joe Jr.'s. Warm light floods through the window from an almost deserted street outside. The warmth of the walls perfectly matches the hues of our favorite dishes on display, burgers and pancakes in a synchronous shade of orange, complemented by lettuce garnishes and empty green counter stools. Menus patiently wait on the table nearby as silverware sits unused. This piece is part of a larger body of work by Arthur to document the diners of New York City as symbols of Americana that are fast disappearing. In light of recent events, this image also takes on new meaning, standing in for all the restaurants that are currently closed due to the global pandemic and a service industry that is struggling to survive. As businesses that are often family and immigrant-owned, diners are sure to take a large hit as a result of this crisis, making Arthur's project even more timely. Second place goes to Stephanie Payne's Diver. The curvature of a man's back within a circular frame creates references to horizons, planets, and the yin-yang symbol. The body is treated as landscape and becomes as much mountain as spine. Payne's process with this series is also alchemical. This is a black and white silver gelatin print, then toned with copper, giving it its pinkish hue. Payne cites that this series is much to do with a re-examination and reconstruction of gender roles. As a woman photographing a male subject, she has switched the traditional power roles of the male gaze, but her representation of the male is one made with tender care. Copper is traditionally known as a healing element, one with the ability to transfer energy. Toning this print in copper, then, is an act of love towards the opposite sex, not an attempt to control her subject, but to free him of the need for masculine performance. Ashley Miller's Condom Pennies receives the Best in Show. The tableau is an apt representation of a modern-day vanitas still life, known for containing symbols of both our own mortality as well as the ephemerality of earthly delights and pleasures. The luxe fabric and rich eggplant and beautiful lighting serve as the backdrop for a slumped, flaccid condom filled with shiny new pennies. At the top of the heap, we clearly see good old Abe Lincoln's face sitting framed by lubricated latex. I read this image as both a comment on the lack of virility in our modern economic structure, prescient as we watch the stock market tumble hand over foot, and the failings of a historical patriarchy that has been entrenched in our country's history. I appreciate the use of traditional elements of still life here to be the canary for our modern times, and I might never look at a penny the same way again.